AI overviews are drastically changing the landscape of the internet and how we find information online. I've been blogging since 2016 while also working as a freelance content creator for other brands, and I also do coaching and consulting for anyone who wants to develop a content strategy and an online presence. Things are changing rapidly, and because the changes are coming on so quickly, there's a lot of uncertainty around the future of blogging and what it means for someone who is a content creator or a writer, or for anyone who is using any form of content to market their business online. I've definitely been seeing the changes as they're happening in real time and that have been accelerating since the beginning of this year. And today, I want to go over some of the trends that I'm noticing in the analytics of my own blog. There are 4 trends that are especially interesting, which are 1, that traffic from Google is down, 2, that my search impressions on Google are level, 3, that my affiliate commissions are also level, and 4, that my ad revenue through Google AdSense is actually up. So I will go through each of these trends in detail, and then I'll also explain what some potential solutions or adaptations could look like. And when it comes to these 4 trends that I'm noticing in my blog analytics, I should also mention that prior to AI overviews being introduced, I was seeing steady growth in each of these categories since launching my blog 9 years ago. And that on my blog, I write about a wide range of topics. It's generally about travel, but I also focus on more specific things like moving abroad and working remotely, and learning languages and skiing, and mental health and personal development and lifestyle content. So yes, there are some elements of seasonality, and of course major world events like the pandemic did cause some fluctuations. For example, I remember at the time, some topics like travel saw a drop in traffic, while other topics like working remotely and mental health saw an increase in traffic. But overall, like I said, in the first 8 years of my blog, I saw steady growth upward. So essentially, I think that the trends that I'm seeing now in my blog analytics have less to do with global economics and have a lot more to do with the state of the internet and how search optimization is changing to really shift toward AI-generated overviews. And to state the obvious, the biggest change that I'm experiencing now is that my content, everything that I write and publish on my blog, is getting crawled and summarized by AI. And I've seen that Google has been tweaking the way that they give credit to the blogs that they're pulling content from. I think in an attempt to give some visibility or maybe just to give more authority to their own AI overviews. But regardless, the current sentiment and the general consensus is that it hasn't been great for bloggers. So what does this all mean for the future of blogging? If you're a blogger, maybe you're asking yourself the same question. Maybe you're wondering if it's worth it to keep going, or maybe you're just curious about what other bloggers are experiencing right now. Or if you are a business or an agency that uses bloggers for your marketing strategies, then you should also stay tuned for what I'm going to share. Because there are ways to make it work in our favor, both for bloggers and for the businesses that still need visibility online. But before I get into all that, I want to go over the 4 major trends that I've noticed are happening to my blog since about February or March of this year. So the first point that I mentioned is that traffic to my blog is down. I think this is the least surprising trend, but I want to highlight it because this context makes the next 3 trends more interesting. And of course, the reason why traffic is down is due to users finding the information that they need from Google's AI overviews and then not needing to click any further onto my blog. The second trend that I mentioned is that my impressions on Google search are level. In the last few years, I've been publishing around 40 high-quality articles per year, and they tend to rank well on Google. And every year, my impressions had been increasing. And now, since the implementation of Google's AI overviews, my impressions are still staying level. And this tells me that the interest is still there. There are still people looking for this information, but they are less likely to click and less likely to scroll down past the AI overview. And they are definitely much less likely to go on to click on the second or third page of search results. So the third trend that I'm seeing is that my affiliate commissions are relatively staying the same. And that of the users that do come to my blog, they are clicking on my affiliate links just as often as they always were, and that they're also just as motivated to make purchases as often as they were before. So, what I gather from this trend is that the most motivated and the most loyal and the most valuable traffic is still looking for the information that is provided on blogs, and that they haven't been deterred by AI overviews. And then the last trend that I noticed is really interesting, and it's that my ad revenue has increased, even though my traffic is down. And it's because the RPM, which is the revenue per mil, has gone up considerably. And this is the first time I've seen such a drastic increase compared to previous years. But when comparing January to September of this year to January to September of last year, my page RPM is up 35% and my impression RPM is up 40%. So what is this telling me? To be honest, I don't know for certain, but just due to the timing of my traffic decreasing for the first time ever and of my RPM increasing for the first time ever, the fact that these two events are happening at the same time is leading me to believe that if this is also happening to other publishers and bloggers, that advertisers are just now paying more because their opportunities for placement are much more competitive due to less visibility across the board. And like I said, I'm not certain that this is the case, but it's just what I'm noticing is happening. So if you're seeing something similar for your site, or if you are seeing something totally different, then please let me know in the comments below because I would love to hear what you're going through. So I've gone over the trends that I've been noticing, but where do we go from here? What can we do to not just accept these changes, but to instead make them work in our favor? And what could the future of blogging really look like? I have 3 beliefs / ideas / predictions. And the first is that people want authenticity. And it really is the only thing that sets you apart from AI. It's that you're physically living the experiences that you're sharing. And it's just a matter of finding and connecting with an audience that wants your real advice. I think that more and more people are becoming less trusting of anonymity. And now that AI has become so advanced with deepfakes and generated video content, it's not easy to recognize what is real and what is manufactured. And I think now more than ever, audiences will have to more actively search for reputable sources that they can trust. And they want to hear from real people who do the things that they want to do. And when it comes to blogging, it really is a platform where you can be as authentic as possible. And I think that blogs do more than just bring in traffic. A blog really is your portfolio of your personal experience and your knowledge and your skill. And I think that defining that is only going to be more important in the future when it comes to defining who you are as a content creator and as someone who is experienced and personally involved and invested in the subject. And just to give an example, I've had coaching clients come to me for advice for building their personal brand and for their blog, and some of them have confessed that they use ChatGPT to write their blogs. And my advice is always to not do that. But I always respond and ask them, if someone could find that same information on ChatGPT, why would they ever go to your blog to read it instead of just going straight to ChatGPT? So I always stress that if you want an audience to stay with you and to connect with you, they need to know why the content that you are publishing is important to you, and that you need to provide context about your personal experiences. I think that this trend, the fact that some people are using ChatGPT to write their blog articles for them, leads me to my second idea. Aside from this practice being generally disappointing, I think the other problem it creates is that now some of these AI summaries are generated by crawling content that was also already generated by AI. So it's just this recycled slop that is just turning over the same ideas and potentially the same out-of-date content. So now what I'm wondering is, what are the AI companies going to do to get higher quality, updated content? If bloggers and publishers are generally feeling discouraged because they are no longer getting credited or paid for putting in the effort, I think AI companies will also suffer from having less content to crawl. I don't know exactly what this will look like, but I think that there will need to be some sort of incentive for these AI companies to get creators and publishers to contribute high quality and original and updated content, because without it, their product will suffer. So then my last thought, and something that won't change in this new era of blogging, is that brands still need placement. I just think the way that they need to go about it will shift, because now they need to compete for visibility in these AI overviews. And I think brands and agencies will have to be much more intentional and strategic about how to get their products and services to show up in these AI overviews and ultimately in front of the customers that they want to reach. And to do that, brands need high quality content published online that recommends them so that they can be captured when the content is crawled and so that they can be included in these AI overviews. So, what does this mean for bloggers and publishers? I think that we may be seeing a shift away from purely affiliate partnerships that were once really rewarding in the form of commission. Because I think without the traffic and without the promise of commission, bloggers are going to be much less motivated to publish and much less motivated to share someone else's products and services on their own accord. And instead, brands will have to incentivize bloggers and publishers with more sponsorships. And when brands realize how valuable the content is that will put them on top of an AI overview, I think that bloggers and publishers can command higher prices for these sponsorships, which can be a good thing. So, my outlook isn't totally pessimistic when it comes to all these changes that are happening in the world of blogging. I just think it's another opportunity to reassess and recalibrate our marketing strategies. And it's important to take a step back and have these conversations about the direction in which things are heading realistically. I'm always happy to connect, so feel free to leave a comment below with your thoughts. And like I said, I'm a consultant and a coach, so if you want to really get into developing a strategy for your blog or for your business or your agency, then you can book a consultation with me. I'll link my calendar in the description below as well. On this channel, I generally post about my experiences as a blogger and how I followed my dreams by following my hobbies and from knowing that it's never too late to get started. And a big part of that has been from having creative outlets that have allowed me to connect and that allow me to grow. So if that sounds like you, then don't forget to subscribe. I'll also be continuing to post about blogging and developing an online presence with all the changes that are happening, so be sure to subscribe if you want to stay tuned for that. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.